Today on Behind the Bloom, RJ and I will be digging into the world of succulents, the not quite flowers, and subject of episode 105 of Jay Schwanke's Life in Bloom. We visit Succulent Gardens, an incredible resource in Mid-Coast California. I'll share memories behind this fun and craft-filled episode featuring the Echeveria. Let's get going and learn more about succulents, the not quite flowers. Succulents are not exactly flowers. However, the Echeveria plant is a symbol of wealth and prosperity. Visit your local flower and plant seller and get a special succulent planter or succulent container garden of your very own. Succulents are another wonderful way to spread some flower power. Cal Flowers is a proud sponsor of Behind the Bloom and Jay Schwanke's Life in Bloom, where succulents and wellness go hand in hand.
Hey, Jay, how's it going?
Good, how are you?
Good, good. I'm excited
Awesome.
for this episode.
I know, succulents, not
Yeah.
quite flowers.
Yeah, so this is going back to one of our companion episodes. So this
Correct.
is talking about one of your episodes from season 1, and this is episode 105. I'm excited to talk about this one because
Yeah.
I love succulents. Yeah.
It was just about this time when we created this one that they were really gaining in popularity. Well, and actually, I think I would take it back even further because we visited Succulent Gardens for the California Grown Experience, and that's when things were just starting to take off. But then we decided to include this because people love them. The easy care, they just do really well, a symbol of wealth and prosperity.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I mean, it's a big deal. Succulent Gardens is incredible.
I couldn't believe the gardens. Robin Stockwell is who you talked
Right.
to there.
Robin has written a book about succulents that is kind of like the compendium of all things succulent. He's a really interesting individual. He's a surfer.
Oh, cool.
It's very close to Moss Landing in California. He would always say, he's like, some of the best surfing in the world is in Moss Landing. Don't tell anybody that because you wouldn't know it. But he was showing us pictures of him surfing, and he's a huge surfer.
Oh, how cool.
He's just like one of those kind of quiet individuals that just kind of flies under the radar. But we also got to know him. I was doing a show at the California Flower and Garden Show. He brought a 2-story tall globe of the world that was every continent was succulents. And then the
Oh,
rest
cool.
was wire mesh. It was incredible. It was incredible. And that was the year he launched his book. He is the succulent man. And he has since retired. But Succulent Gardens is still there. And Succulent
Oh.
Gardens is keeping up everything that he did and more. And so
Oh, cool.
you can even go to Succulent Gardens website and have stuff kits shipped across the United States and make your own initials out of a succulent, or you can, make a wall hanging living art like he showed on the show. They don't ship wreaths, and I'm just sick about that because I love the wreaths so
Oh,
much.
yeah.
But you have to go there and pick up a wreath.
Okay.
They won't ship it to you.
I was
So
going to say,
don't know.
because you saw a wreath on the show.
I
Yeah,
know,
okay,
right?
so they won't
and I
ship
was
it.
and I said to him, I was like, Robin, I want one of these. And he goes, we don't ship them. I was like, oh, I can't carry it home on the plane. So you have to drive there to get it. But it is still a popular attraction, and so many people go there. And it really is beautiful. It's wonderful.
I couldn't believe all the different varieties of succulents that you talked about when you were there. There were 400 to 600 varieties, it sounded like. I mean, when you go to other flower farms, it's nothing like that, right?
I think the numbers are staggering too, because he talked about the millions of succulents that they have, but realizing that when they start, they're like smaller than a penny.
Oh, yeah.
And then they grow, and how they will use a leaf and place it on the soil and let it just sit there on that moist soil, and it will sprout little baby succulents. And you could do that in your own garden as well. I mean, the thing you have to watch for is, although they are drought-tolerant plants, when you're creating cuttings from them and you want to generate new ones, you have to have moist soil and you have to have a humid environment for them to do that. And that's why a greenhouse works so well.
Okay.
You will notice that you can sometimes take a leaf off a succulent and throw it in a pot, and put it out in your yard and come back and there'll be succulents starting there because that's the way that they propagate. It's really interesting. And just watching them do that and how many, I mean, and I would say a flat that's what? A flat's usually like 18 inches by 7 inches across or something like that. He'd probably have 1,000 in
Wow.
when they're starting them. And then they get bigger because there are ones there that are, as big as a chair.
Oh, right.
That are just giant ones that they've had for many years too, so
It was interesting. He talked about just how they've like adapted to places where, there's lack of water. And he talked about how deserts, which I feel like a lot of people associate succulents with, but also the tropics where water is salty. So they've lived to be somewhere where they can, there's not a lot of fresh water available, but they can thrive there. And then alpine regions, he said too, where like water is frozen. I thought that was just like really interesting because I think so much like desert, but alpine, tropics, like that's so interesting. And it does make sense.
did you know that the largest and most elaborate succulent garden in the world is in Monte Carlo?
Oh, no, I did not know that.
It's because of it, and it is on the edge of the Mediterranean. So it's on these
Oh,
walls, and so you climb up and down the walls. It's on my must-do list. I've never been there. I imagine it must be incredible. And that's when he's talking about that, where they're in the salty sea air and where that
yeah.
marine layer comes in at night is what gives them the content, that moisture content that they need. So I'm curious because I think you had confided in me that you don't feel you're a good succulent grower.
No, I am embarrassed. I have a ton of houseplants and I do great with all of them, but for some reason, my succulents I kill and, Amanda takes care of them, and I'm not allowed to touch the succulents anymore, and this has been a problem for as long as I can remember, but I have all kinds of other plants that I'm great with.
What happened to the succulents? Did they like rot off?
Yes, yeah.
Amanda's advice, she's so
Mhm.
smart. Amanda's advice is correct. Leave them alone, RJ.
That's my
And
problem.
my niece Grace is just like, my succulent's dying. And so I started giving it more water. No, that is the opposite of what you should do. I joke about this. I have a terrarium. It's a bias cut terrarium, so it's kind of open. A terrarium in our bedroom that has succulents that I don't believe I've watered this year.
Wow. This whole year.
I know. It's October and I have not watered it yet. And I will give it a drink and then I'm going to ignore it again.
Mhm.
I have succulent gardens that move out into the garden, and then they move back into the greenhouse window over the winter. I water them the day I bring them back in, and I water them the day I take them out in the
Wow.
spring again. And then out there, I don't do anything with them. They're just sitting in a protected area, and that's where they sit and they thrive. And I'm gonna have to pull back stuff and see what they look like and see what's going on in there. And generally, when I bring them in and give them that watering and then put them in the window, they'll bloom. They'll bloom like the first month, so they'll like bloom the month of December or something like that. They thrive on neglect. I think that that's a really, really, really good thing to say about them.
Okay.
The reason that they are so popular in China and Japan is because they are the symbol of wealth and prosperity because they believe their leaves look like coins. And so it's like a living coin purse. I love that that's the symbol for it. Putting them in feng shui in your prosperity section of your home would be a great thing to have there. And for people who are busy, it's a really easy thing to take care of. Now, the other thing I was going to tell you is that because succulents look as if they're plastic, you certainly, Amanda could get you a plastic one and put it in a pot for you and not tell you, and then you could water it all you wish.
There we go.
And then you would never, and you would think you were doing great with it, But yeah, they were one of the most popular permanent botanicals because they look so great.
Yeah.
They look like they're plastic. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's part of my fascination, especially with Echeveria. Echeveria are my favorites
Mhm.
because there's so many different colorations that they have. Well, besides the string of pearls. String of pearls is the one I can't grow, but I love a string of pearls as a succulent, and that's the one that's just a little thin vine that has little green balls on it.
Okay.
A burro's tail too. I'm really, really, really fond of a burro's tail, both of which I can't grow because I think they do need a little bit more water,
Oh, okay.
and I think I'm so neglectful that, it doesn't work out. But
Hmm.
also, then Echeveria became a big thing for people to be able to there are so many flower sellers who sell, like, different colors of Echeveria, and you can go in and say, "I have a purple themed event, and I want purple ones, or I want pink ones," and in Amsterdam, they even paint them. They
Oh,
will paint them like black or metallic colors or red or, with paint, and
is that bad for the plant?
ultimately, yes.
Okay.
Ultimately, yes, and what you will see is the plant will grow, and it will break the paint. And if you would continue to paint them, it's just like the Goldfinger thing. Like when they painted that woman with, all that gold paint, they had to
Right.
leave a square 8 inches by 8 inches in the middle of her back or she would have suffocated.
Right. Right.
Same thing will happen to them. So, I mean, I think that there's just so many different varieties now. There's, like, variegated ones, and there's all of them are wonderful, and, my friend Trina, who was in our hydrangea episode, she lives in California. She has such amazing succulents in her yard. It's
Oh,
unbelievable, and it's because of that drought and that California being a pretty uniform temperature. We can't winter them over here, but I
right.
just think it's a great addition to a garden, and
Yeah.
I wish, we can the closest thing we can do probably here is like has a big tall spike out of the middle. It's kind of like an agave, but not really. And
Oh.
it's more like a plumish type plant, and
Hmm.
those will winter over okay here. But if the winter's pretty severe and there's heat and cold and heat and cold, it's gonna be hard on them.
Hmm.
So, much better to have them in almost any garden center, any local independent garden center is gonna have succulents. I mean, it's just it's a great thing, and it's a great alternative to having them included in a flower arrangement too, because it's also something somebody can take home and make a plant out of. So
Yeah.
it's like the gift that keeps on giving, right?
Right.
So I love that too, and even I've seen people package Christmas presents with a succulent.
Oh, that's cool.
I think that's fun too, sure,
Yeah.
right? Because you then somebody can keep that, and it's a fun thing, or if you have them as place uh, place place cards for your because you could even take an echeveria and write on a leaf someone's name and make it be a place card, and then they could take it home from your wedding, and they would have it as a plant that they could grow and remember your wedding that way too. So,
Oh.
there's lots of fun stuff you can do with them.
I liked on the episode too, you talked about maybe having like a succulent party and having people over and everyone can kind of make their own arrangement. And it's like, that is such a fun thing to like have a memory. Like, I don't know, every time you look at it, you're going to be like, oh, I remember that night. That was such a fun thing. And it's something that
Exactly,
is low maintenance that you can have that unless you're
and
me will survive in your house.
you just need to have more succulent parties. You need to be
Yes.
going to more
Yeah.
go to
Yeah.
frequent succulent parties so
Yes.
you can
Keep
kill the
replacing
plants.
it.
Right. So, what's interesting is we had a whole bunch of people plan to come to that and no one came.
Oh.
And so the 2 people there is my neighbor Amanda, who you will see later on. She's a henna artist who painted did a henna thing on my arm, a henna tattoo on my arm, and then she also came back later in an episode about tea. But she's the little neighbor girl who grew up next door, and so I went over and called her, and I said, "Amanda, can you bring your boyfriend over and come to our succulent party?" And so that's her and her boyfriend that came over. Her
Oh.
boyfriend then, they're not together anymore, but he was a massage therapist, and so, but yeah, so they came over for the succulent party and kinda did our little succulent B-roll
Oh.
for us to do that and
Well,
stuff,
it looked
but
like they
yeah.
were having fun.
Oh, they did, and
Yeah, they had a blast.
Amanda will always have fun wherever she goes. I mean, she's
Oh.
wonderful, yeah, so, if we think about community, whether or not I think, like, right now, people are talking about flower bars being a big deal. If a flower bar is a big deal, it's like having everybody come over to your house and everybody makes their own arrangement in a vase that they can take home. It's about creating a sense of community. I think that that's part of what our show's always about, is creating a sense of community. I thought it was a good idea to include plants. I am the flower guy, but I wanted to include plants. I wanted to include foliage. This was a great opportunity to include those echeveria because they do look like a flower. They're set up that way with that composite flower type look. Even though they're not a flower, people have started to use them as they might with flowers in decor. When it comes to flowers and increased vase life, I choose Chrysal Flower Food and have enjoyed the benefits for years, professionally and personally. My favorite product is Chrysal Professional 3. This formula feeds the flowers and helps control growth of bacteria in the vase. If you want to try Chrysal Flower Food products, visit their website, chrysalflowerfood.com. Look for the link in the podcast description. Use our special discount code UBLOOM10. That's the letter U, Bloom, 10, for 10% off your purchase. Support the joy of flowers. The Life in Bloom Foundation is a 501c3 nonprofit dedicated to flower education and inspiring a love of flowers in everyone. The foundation helps fund the production of Jay Schwanke's Life in Bloom on public television, making it possible for viewers across the country to enjoy the beauty and benefits of flowers. The foundation also provides free flower education to high schools, colleges, and floriculture programs through ubloom.com, helping students and future florists bloom in their own careers. Your donation in any amount makes a difference. Plus, all contributions are 100% tax deductible. If you'd like to help us continue sharing the power of flowers, visit thelifeinbloomfoundation.org to donate today. Thank you for your support. I think it's just a great reason for you to seek out those local independent sellers. Remember when you're looking for somewhere to go look. The unfortunate thing, I'm really thankful that so many big box stores carry flowers and they also carry garden center things. But a local independent flower seller or a local independent garden center is going to carry things that are specific to your climate and your geographic region. And that's a really important thing. Like I will go sometimes to a box store or a DIY store and I'll look at their garden center. And there's things that I know won't winter over. You might see like Nandina plants there. We can't have those here. They're going to die. Certain types of azaleas or rhododendrons are not going to do well here. They might even be selling big agaves for your yard, which are never going to winter over because all the stores have the same thing. That's very beneficial for them because they can keep their prices lower and they can do it that way. But if you're looking for something specific that's going to do well in your area, go to that local independent garden center because they're going to be able to show you the plants that are maybe native to your area or things that are going to winter over in your climate. Grand Rapids, Chicago, it's important to us.
Right.
You know, we don't want to spend it's very interesting. I did because I want a gardenia. And I bought a gardenia for my yard, but it's not going to winter over. And it was $70. And I bought a big one because I wanted it to blossom a little bit. And I'm getting ready to have 3 blooms. But hurry before frost, right?
Yeah.
Now I'm paying a local man to put it in his greenhouse for me over the winter.
Oh, okay.
So that it will stay there. But it isn't something that could be in my yard. So planting in my yard would have been a really bad idea. It's just in a container in a jardinier out there right now, and I'll lift it up out of there and then I can winter it over. But if you want to have an agave in your yard, that would be the way to do it. If you wanted to have something like that. So also just be aware of what your opportunities are and talking to those local independent flower sellers or local independent garden centers is going to be helpful for you.
I didn't realize that agave was a succulent until watching this episode.
Correct.
Yeah.
Then we make tequila out of it.
Yes.
And it is pollinated by bats.
Wait, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Really?
So
Whoa.
agave's biggest pollinator is bats.
How cool.
And so I love that too.
Yeah.
But it's fascinating to watch them because they harvest the agave with machetes. And so then they kind of trim it all down. And so when you'll see these fields and it looks like little Christmas trees almost because they've all been carved down and it doesn't kill them, then they'll regrow.
Oh, okay.
So that's also a good thing. But then they take those agave leaves and they allow them to rot and ferment. And that's where we get tequila.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. And so going to Donkey to have that was really, really fun. So yeah.
Donkey, it sounds like they sell a lot of tequila. He was going through all the different varieties and how much they sell. And I was like, wow.
They do. So was a gas station. We have a friend who is actually in another episode coming up in season 1, which is our episode where we talk about flower power and we have our flower power challenge. The owner of Donkey donkey was Paul Lee, and Paul Lee was one of our contestants in that Flower Power challenge. Paul passed away last year. He had cancer, and he
Oh.
has such amazing restaurants. And his wife Jess is still maintaining them all, and it's wonderful. But he has his donkey has Winchester. He has chicken store. There's one that serves spicy chicken
Oh.
sandwiches and stuff like that. He was really instrumental in helping gentrify and modernize an older part of Grand Rapids. It's like the hub of everything now.
Oh,
And
how cool.
it's just wonderful. And I had asked Paul and he said, "No, no, no, I don't want to be on camera." And so that's why we were working with the bartender.
With Brad,
With
okay.
Brad, yeah, and it was really, and Brad was great too. Brad
Yeah.
is no longer there either. Brad's gone on to
Oh,
something else now too.
okay.
But it was just they make these incredible cocktails, and you saw the people that were fixing the food in there, and they made their tacos for they have pork tacos, they have beef carne asada, they have, and all of it is authentic Mexican food. It is
Oh.
so good.
Oh,
It's
that sounds
just
good.
it's and now it has this huge area outside where you can sit at night, and there's things strung up. In the winter, they put in igloos, those plastic
Oh,
igloos, so
yeah.
you can sit out there too and do that too. So I mean, there's a lot of fun stuff that goes on at that restaurant. But Donkey was a clear choice for us because we love Paul so much.
Oh.
We still love going to his restaurants, and it's a wonderful legacy that he left for our community. But Donkey is super special, and it was a perfect fit because of the agave. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And I loved the cocktail that Brad made too. They talked about having marigold in it and how
Yeah.
marigold draws out the spirits for the Day of the Dead. If you haven't listened to our Halloween episode last week, everybody go back and listen to that.
Absolutely, right, right, right.
Yeah, yeah.
And our Dia de los Muertos show that is it's available on PBS or createtv.com, pbs.org, or the PBS Passport, or you can watch it on Ubloom. But we had my friend Sandy Luna come, and she makes paper flowers and Katrinas. And I actually I think if you were going to say this, I like Day of the Dead better than Halloween because
I see it,
there's
Jay. Yeah.
so much memory. And so Sandy made for us Katrinas of our family. Of Dorothy, who I talk about in the Halloween episode too, who was Hexy the Witch, but was my nanny, and she made Dorothy for me as a Katrina, so I have that, and it's lovely. And so she also made Eleanor for us, our dog, and so we get out all of those figures and stuff, and we do those things. And for Day of the Dead, you fix the meal that they liked,
Oh,
and you set a place for them at the table and welcome the spirits back. And so when we're talking about welcoming spirits back, that's what it means. Is
okay.
on Day of the Dead, you want to observe those peoples. And they have the altars and they have pictures of people. And if you've seen Coco and, the movie from Disney, I mean, that's one of my favorite Disney movies because it's about remembering those people. And it's wonderful. Sandy was so sweet too. Sandy's best friend is the lady who co-wrote the screenplay for Coco, and
Oh,
she sent me Coco as a book and had her sign it for me
oh,
as a thank
eh,
you for being on the show. But yeah, so I mean,
oh, how
so
cool.
there's it's bringing back those spirits, and that's what the marigold flower is. So if you saw the movie Coco, knowing that there was those trails and trails, and you sprinkle marigolds because you want that fragrance to bring those spirits back to you. So yeah, that's thus the marigold infusion.
I love that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh.
You have to be careful because you can never. I mean, those those drinks pack a punch.
Oh, I bet. So after that, you did your Crafts in Bloom segment where you had the succulent napkin ring, and I loved that because you showed also just kinda how to make the napkin ring itself, not just adding the succulents. It was cool to see that whole process to make that with the wire and, spiraling it and coiling it, and then, I don't know, that was fun to, watch you talk all the way through that because it's like, "Oh, that's something I could do."
I love craft wire. And for many years, Oasis sold it, and they stopped doing it, but you can buy it at any craft store. So it's jewelry wire. It's very malleable. It's very pliable. They sell tools there, so you can get a little toolkit for like $11, and then it helps you twist and turn those things. And you can make a brooch, you can make a ring, you can make this napkin holder. There's so many things you can do with that metallic craft wire. Actually, excuse me, that's the aluminum. It's aluminum. And so that's why it's so malleable and twistable and turnable. I used to glue stuff on there until I was at the craft store and found the little adhesive dots.
Oh, okay.
And that's so easy. So, I mean, even if you wanted to make a place card, you could put a dot on there and then you could put a little tiny succulent on the place card. I mean, there's so many things you can do. I have hemmed pants in an emergency with the dots when the
Oh,
pants were
that's
too
so
long, and
smart.
I just fold them up and put the dots on the inside, and you could do. I mean, there's so much stuff you can do with those little dots. I love
Yeah.
it, and so and obviously rubber cement would work as well. You just need to remember, if you're using rubber cement to apply something, put it on both surfaces, let it dry a little bit, and then place them together. But the dots make it go faster. I like that somebody can take something home from even a little dinner party of four, you
Yeah.
know? I mean, I don't know. I feel bad now because when you and Amanda were here, we had a little dinner party of five and nobody got anything to take home. Well, Amanda
Oh.
got a vase of flowers. So
Yeah,
that's
and I
good.
got a
Yeah.
flower crown,
Yeah, you got
Jay,
a flower
so
garden. Okay, so
yeah,
all right. So
we
everything's
got a
good.
lot to take
Okay.
home.
That's good. But yeah, so I mean, I just think remembering that occasion with a living thing is a really, really, really great way to take care of it.
I went to a wedding and I actually stood up in the wedding. This was probably 10 years ago. But everybody's place setting at the wedding had a little succulent in a jar, and it was like everyone got
Oh.
to take it home. And at the end of the night, like half the people left them. And so we went around and I took like 10 of them home because I was like, I want all these. But then you can imagine how that
And
ended. I
and
was like, oh, I'm always going to remember this is my good friend's wedding and I'm going to take care of these forever. And I overwatered them.
yeah,
This was
and
before I knew Amanda.
so the other thing, different from so like if you have a Munster or if you have a Dersina or something, you soak it's best to take them to a sink, put them in a bucket, fill that bucket up with water so that the entire root ball gets wet, okay?
Oh,
And
okay.
then put it back, and you probably won't water it again for a month. That's regular green plants. Okay, don't do that with succulents.
Oh, okay.
Don't soak that entire root ball. Instead, go in with like a turkey baster, apply water to the base of it, and then leave it alone.
Okay.
Many times they say, wait for your succulent to pucker slightly, which means that it's starting to use that succulent part. Succulent means like, wet, squishy, moist inside.
Mhm.
And so they're going to start to deplete that and they'll look a little bit puckered. Then when you give them the water, that puckering will go away. And if it doesn't, then give it a little bit more water. And generally what will happen is they live in sand typically. So what happens then is when it would rain in the desert, then that water would wash away from the roots. If you have them in soil and you get that whole root ball wet, it's going to keep that whole root ball wet. And they're not going to be able to deplete it fast enough and it's going to rot off the roots and it's going to rot off the plant.
Oh,
So too wet is really bad for succulents.
okay.
Less water, less water. There was a lady who called me and she said, I have a thimble from sewing. So for those of us that when they sew, they have a thimble. It's kind of like when you talk about the dialing phone, the phone you used to dial. Okay, but anyway, so you take her thimble and give it to her succulent once a month. That's all. That was all she
That's
did.
all?
That's all she did.
Oh
And
my
she said,
gosh.
I've had it for 14 years. And I was like, all right. So that's a testament for just a little bit of water, a little bit at a time. So yeah. Yeah.
Oh, where were you 10 years ago, Jay? I wish I had talked to you before I took all these succulents home for my friend's wedding.
Right, right, right. You could pretend. Go get 10 more and just
Yeah,
pretend that they were
you're
there.
right. I still have them.
I mean, it's like, shh, don't tell. I still have those from your wedding.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's always good. What someone doesn't know won't hurt them.
Right, right.
But yeah, and I think that's why they do so well too. As a cut flower, as a cut flower, we'll get them and they'll be cut off. And so many times when I put them in an arrangement, by the time I take them out of the arrangement, they have all these little feather roots. And
Oh,
it's
okay.
that they started, these little feather roots started to grow while they were sitting there. The other thing that I would do too is I always had a tray in my greenhouse window with rocks in the bottom. And then I'd have enough water not to cover the rocks. Don't cover the rocks. Have it below there. And then set the succulents on top until your next project. And they make those little feather roots and they go down into that water. And they can sit in that tray that has the water below them in the rocks. But don't cover them because you don't want them to sit in it. But it's a great little housing mechanism for that doesn't include any dirt.
Oh,
So that's nice
I
too.
love that.
It's a great way to do it. And I think the only other unfortunate thing is that succulents have gotten a lot more expensive than they used to be because they're
Oh,
so popular. So yeah.
yeah.
We talked about extending in the show, we showed how to extend the stem too. So if you want to use it in a
Oh, yeah.
bouquet, it's great to crosswire a succulent and then tape it so that you can use it. And that's in the show. It's also in our Bloom 365 book as well. And so there are some tricks for succulents inside there too. Because the other thing you can do is just take a bamboo skewer that you would get from the grocery store and poke the bamboo skewer up the stem, and then you can arrange with it that way too.
Okay.
So that's another great way to do it. I would do that in an arrangement. I wouldn't do that in a bridal bouquet. In the bridal bouquet, I would use the wire because it gives it longer and it allows me to fasten it in a little bit better too.
Okay, it's more
Yeah,
secure.
it's more secure. So I
Okay.
think that that's true. But yeah, succulents, wealth and prosperity always.
I
So
love this
yeah,
episode
yeah,
105, and it's up on YouTube now as well.
absolutely.
All right.
All right, thanks. Thanks for joining us this week on Behind the Bloom podcast with Jay Schwanke and RJ Poole. If you loved what you heard, be sure to follow or subscribe so you never miss an episode. And share it with a friend to help us spread the joy, one bloom at a time. Thank you for taking the time to slow down with us. And hopefully you left feeling a little lighter and inspired to try something new. Make sure to join us next week for a brand new episode. Thanks for being here with us, Behind the Bloom. Hey, just one more thing. If you love flowers, you've got to check out ubloom.com. It's the online home of Jay Schwanke's Life in Bloom, where you can stream every episode for free. Plus, you'll find behind the bloom videos, my blog, show recipes, and so much more. There's also a massive video archive, over 1,800 how-to videos, flower farm documentaries, and even my very first series, JTV. All Life in Bloom episodes, exclusive web content, and farm documentaries are totally free. Just sign up with your email. And if you're ready to dive deeper, there's a paid subscription option that unlocks the full library of how-to videos. Everything from creating bridal bouquets to centerpieces, corsages, and more. Tons of content to explore. You're gonna love it.